first training in the inventory module, we'll begin with going over the group list. The group list is really the foundation of our inventory system. And you can find the group list by going to File, Setup, and under Inventory Control, we have Group Maintenance. Now here are the various groups in our data here that we can work with. And each one represents a category of a piece of inventory. Now the group list satisfies three things that need to be done to manage our inventory system. The first and most basic thing that the group list does for us is it categorizes the inventory by the type of part. And that allows us to use the reporting and other management features of our inventory module to help you control your inventory and reference it for information necessary to make it work for you. The second thing that the group list does is it takes care of some under the hood accounting information that the YES system needs in order to properly track the flow of the dollar value of your inventory. Let's take a look at the oil filter group as an example. Now here's what a group maintenance screen looks like, and it has some key information such as the group code and a name so that we can identify what the group is. And we also have the description of the parts that are going to go into that group. We have several buttons here that help you control the pieces of inventory, but I want to go ahead and click on the accounting button because that's really what this second advantage of the group list does for you. Here we have a bunch of configuration to help the system identify what kind of part it is and whether or not it should be taxable or charge shop supplies, and what general ledger codes it should go to. The most basic thing up at the top here, invoice total 2, relates to the sales department, so that the dollar value of the part in this group, in this case an oil filter, is going to total on the customer screen as a part and not road service or tires and batteries. We can also identify it under a commission department, and that gives us some more pinpointed organizational tags so that we can run some reports for internal purposes. And we have here our 5 totalers now. These are values that will calculate after the selling value for any additional amounts such as shop supplies or sales tax. So if we know that the item is going to be taxable, it needs to be set to the proper sales tax rate, which will then equal a value, in this case 7% of the total sales. And down at the bottom we have our general ledger accounts for income, cost, and inventory asset that is related to the values of this part. Now every single line item that has a billing amount in the YES system needs to know all of this information, and if you had to enter that information in every time you added a new part to the YES system, it would make adding inventory a very tedious process. So what we do is we set up our inventory group to act as a template or a proto part for all the parts that are being added to the group. And by simply choosing this group, in this case 710, to add our oil filters to, those oil filter part numbers are going to inherit this under the hood accounting information. So that's the second thing that groups do for you, is they establish that under the hood accounting information. And finally, the third thing groups do for you is they set up your pricing or gross profit goals for the pieces of inventory in that group. And that's done under the pricing button. Now you see here we have several different price levels, 6 price levels, with retail being price level 1. And we're going to focus on that particular price level for our inventory item. As you can see, we've set this up for a gross profit margin percentage of 40%. That is to say, when I sell this, 40% of the selling price is targeted as my profit. Now I've set that up as an overall value so that regardless of the cost, it's going to try to achieve that 40% profit margin. We have a column next to it though for used matrix. If I wish this piece of inventory to use one of our 9 price matrices, I can put in which matrix number it should adhere to. So let's say I wanted it to use price matrix number 1. By putting that in here in the use matrix field, it overrides whatever I have in the price matrix percentage field. So let's go ahead and get out of that group. Let's take a look at price matrix 1. If you choose to use it, I'm very much a proponent of using a price matrix. This price matrix is set up so that at the first level of cost, if it costs between 1 penny and $5, it's going to have an aggressive 85% profit margin. If it costs between $5.01 and $15, it'll have a 70% profit margin. And as you can see, as the part becomes more expensive for you to purchase from a vendor, your markup becomes less aggressive. In that respect, you make a higher gross profit on your lower cost parts, your nickel and dime parts. So those are the 3 things that groups do for you. The first, most basic thing is that they organize the inventory so that you can do proper reporting and restock orders based off of a range of groups. They establish that under the hood accounting information as a template so that when you add the parts to the group, it will inherit the proper accounting configuration. And the third thing they do is they establish your pricing goals for the parts that are in that inventory group. So as you can see, having a setup group list is very important before adding inventory to that group.